All right, everybody, hello. Today we're reading more Reddit, and I just want to say before I begin, I don't want to do this, I don't care about this, and I am better than this. So let's just get that on the record, okay? Today we're reading from Am I the Arsehole? Am I the asshole for offering a frozen dinner to an uninvited guest at a dinner party? And the community voted this person not the asshole. A couple times a year, I like to throw a nice dinner party for old friends. This time I invited 5 people. 2 were couples and 1 was single. Well, that poor motherfucker should probably go jump off a bridge, right? We have all known each other for around 15 years and get together maybe every 3 months. Sounds like you're losers. Need to make new friends. You should never have the same friends for that long. I was making filet mignon and small lobster tail with 2 sides. I spent over $300 and didn't buy extra because they are served 1 each per guest and are expensive. Why the fuck did you spend $300? That's stupid. You need to get better priorities. If your friendship is so great, why do you need to spend hundreds of dollars on the food that you eat? True friendship, you should be able to eat dumpster trash and still enjoy each other's time. So it sounds to me like you're compensating for the fact that your friendship is dead and you're reanimating a corpse of human relationships. Sorry. Bad attitude. Eddie told me I had to have a better attitude. As a surprise to me, the single guest brought along his new girlfriend, who I had not met or known about. I was nice about it, but upset, because I only purchased enough meat and lobster tail for the guests who were invited. So you are upset that your friend has decided to find companionship for once, instead of being your lobster slave? You don't like the fact that now your friend is deciding to change into a different person. You want to keep him under your thumb as the single loser. Is that right? Yes. Let's see what you have to say for yourself for the rest of this. I talked to the friend who brought the uninvited guest and said that I didn't have extra food. Well, that's your first mistake right there. If you're a host, if you're hosting people at your home, you need to have options. That's part of what being a good host is. So that if something like this happens, you don't have to offer them a frozen TV dinner. I didn't have extra food, and the filet mignon cooked to individual doneness and lobster tail isn't something that can be cut up and divided or spread out between more people. Why not? It sounds like you have food-related autism. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And said that I had frozen pizza or another frozen dinner I could heat up. He was very upset with me and accused me of not liking his new girlfriend and trying to embarrass them. After his outburst, they left. Was I wrong? Should I have cut up the filet and lobster tails and spread it out between the extra person instead of offering a frozen meal? Well, why don't you just have them split their helping? Offering them a frozen TV dinner is essentially saying, go fuck yourself. That's essentially what you're saying. That's an incredibly rude thing to do. Even if you think in Reddit logic that everybody works like a machine and rational, like this is the rational thing to do. I don't have any more food. This is all the food that I have. This is rational. Beep boop, I'm a robot. That is not how human beings work. Get with the program. Here we go. Did I call it or what? I have ADHD. So I should be able to get away with whatever I want with no consequences and everybody should just deal with it. No, it doesn't say that, but that's basically what it says. I have ADHD, so I have some issues with changes in plans and multitasking. No fucking kidding. Anyway, another friend messaged tonight that the friend that brought the uninvited girlfriend had been arguing with her before dinner. So that is part of the reason he was upset and quick to leave. You know, I think it sounds like, in all honesty, you need to get yourself somebody else who can be there to sort of round out your edges, just kind of sand down the rigidity of your existence. If you want to be in a position of hosting other people in your home, it sounds like you're not really ready for that in your current mental state. So I would not do that in the future unless either you can get on some medication or you can find another person who is more sociable and understanding. Okay? Am I the asshole for brainwashing my daughter's friends? You know that it's going to be one of these fucking bullshit ones when they put something in quotation marks in the title. Am I the asshole for being an asshole? A few months ago, my daughter, 18, and a couple of her friends, 17 to 18, ended up in an unsafe situation while hanging out at a friend's relative's house. This is going to be about molestation or rape, and we can't do those, Eddie. I told you. They're not funny. So I'm skipping this one. Am I the asshole for not switching rooms? I booked a single room at a resort where a family event is happening, and as I am single without a traveling companion. This resort is all-inclusive, and it doesn't matter what kind of room you book. It is the same price across the board. They charge by the person, not by the room. My cousin, who I am close with, called to book a room, and apparently there was only a room that sleeps 6 people left, so she booked that room. What are you talking about? This is stupid. I don't care. Shut up. Skipping it. Would I be the asshole for leaving my family vacation early because they invited someone I asked them not to? I, 31F, am very close with my family, and we take a family vacation every year. The trip usually includes my immediate family and their spouses' kids, around 10 people. My brother-in-law typically plans it because he has anxiety and likes things done a certain way. Last year, they invited a friend of mine, despite explicitly me asking them not to, well before the planning started. I've known this friend since 2018 when we worked together, but we became closer outside of work in 2022. We are very different people. I'm introverted and prefer quiet nights at home while she is outgoing and wants to be out of town. Don't care. Moving on. Am I the asshole for refusing to follow my friend's parents' house rules and leaving? Throwaway account because it's too specific of a story and our friend is on Reddit. Hey, I got news for you, sweet cheeks. If this blows up, it doesn't fucking matter what account you make because the friend's going to see it anyway. My 22F boyfriend, 23M, and I have been together since high school, almost 6 years. We just moved in together after I graduated in May. We're not officially engaged yet, but planning to get married once he finishes grad school. An old friend from high school invited us to his family's beach house for the holiday last weekend. 4th of July, I assume. When we got there Friday, we realized his mom and dad were spending the weekend too, which was fine. It's their house, and they seemed to have their own plans for the weekend. They were happy to let us do our own thing during the days, and they had drinks in the hot tub with us Friday evening. And we're actually really cool. But that night, when my boyfriend and I started getting ready for bed, oh no, Eddie, I swear to God, if this is about... Our friend's mom pulled me aside and said that my boyfriend would need to sleep on the couch in the living room instead of with me in the guest room because we are married. Okay, phew. I thought the mom was going to come in with a fucking cucumber and tell your boyfriend to bend over and get the video camera. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from, and I really regret saying it, honestly. I was I was surprised because our friend hadn't mentioned this and my boyfriend and I lived together and everything. I said okay, but felt really uncomfortable. I have trouble sleeping in new places, and sleeping next to my boyfriend helps. Well, that's an unhealthy relationship if you can't even sleep without having an IV drip of your boyfriend. Jesus. My boyfriend was also annoyed he had to sleep on an uncomfortable couch when there's a perfectly good bed. So we decided it would be best to get a hotel in town and meet up with our friend the next morning. When we told our friend, he was kind of weird about it, but said okay. So we left and checked into our hotel. The next morning, we called to see what time our friend wanted to meet up. He seemed mad and he couldn't hang out, and that his mom and dad flipped out on him for letting us go to a hotel and said that we didn't appreciate their hospitality. So we ended up just doing our own thing for the weekend and not seeing our friend at all. Our friend texted us today, Monday. We don't need to know what day it is. Saying that he was really angry that we couldn't have slept apart for 2 nights just to make his parents happy and that we won't be invited to Friendsgiving this year. Oh no, not a Friendsgiving for all of our burnout failure friends. So are we the asshole for leaving and getting our own place? No. Why are you posting this story? What do you need to hear? What do you need to hear to be okay with this? Stupid. Okay. Am I the asshole? To be called I was never properly weaned off my mother's breast milk. And now I need to be affirmed for every single decision that I make in my entire life by the validation of random internet strangers. Am I the asshole for not chasing down my daughter and she missed her grandma funeral? My daughter suffered from ADHD and depression. Did she kill her? What do you mean suffered? Growing up, we helped her as much as we could, and she used to be on medication. When she went to college, it was a very rough transition because she was responsible for her own stuff. The first semester, she almost flunked out because she wouldn't turn stuff in. She figured it out, and next semester, she did much better. She is the type of person that wouldn't change her behavior until she hits a bottom. Yeah, I'll say. Hits a bottom with a... The issue is her not responding to texts or phone calls. This is an issue. Yeah, you just said it's an issue. If you need an answer from her, you have a better chance driving 5 hours to her college than her responding to a text. I have chanced her down before, and it is tiring. She is taking summer courses and is at her college. She is living in the dorms. They are in person and are needed so she can graduate in 4 years on time since the first semester. The grades didn't count for her credits. My mother passed last week. My daughter, grandma. Last week, the whole family was informed, and I personally called her twice. No answer. And texted her the news, which was unread. My daughter was close to my mother, so I knew she would want to be at the viewing. I would need to pick her up so she could attend over the weekend. I never got a response. I had her siblings message her, and they never got a response. I decided not to chase her down for the funeral. I didn't want to drive 5 hours, try to track her down at the dorms, and then drive 5 hours back. I talked it over with my wife, and she agreed. She was also sick of our daughter not bothering to check her phone and said to focus on my mom's viewings and not tracking her down. I did try multiple times to get in contact with her. The viewing was this weekend, and she missed it. Today, she finally read her messages, and I got a call, and she was very upset. We got into a big fight over it. She wanted me to come get her even if she didn't respond to the text. This is the type of parent that just fills me with such dread and horror. Imagining something that I want you guys to keep in mind with these stories is that somebody sat at a computer and typed this out and posted it on reddit.com. This is supposedly the father of a nearly 20-year-old woman who got so upset about these minute problems that they typed out this form submission on a computer and sent it on Reddit and asked, am I the asshole? Or am I the asshole? So you never should have had kids if this is the type of thing that you need to do. And here's something else I'll tell you. You know who's not going to be at your viewing? Your daughter. She's not coming. Nobody's coming. Maybe Reddit will come. Why don't you post your... All right. Okay, that's enough. Am I the asshole for not leaving a concert? Great. Concert goers. The people who have so little going on in their brain that they need loud noises to be piped into their ear holes constantly to simulate thought. I, 30F, recently attended a concert. Well, there's your problem right there, honey. With my husband and 2 friends. It was a large concert with a very competitive ticket buying process. The artist is very special to me, parasocial, psychotic weirdo, and my husband, and we were going to buy tickets for our anniversary gift to each other. A friend, Amanda 30F, from out of town, asked if we could buy a ticket for her because she wanted to see the show and would fly in for it. Another mutual friend, Jill 30F, who is not a fan of the musician, wanted to go because we were both going. My husband and I said no problem, the more the merrier, and managed to get tickets for everyone. Well, you shouldn't have said that, because I can already tell at this point that this situation is so irrationally important to you that your decision to involve other people in it was irresponsible, because it's going to lead to you having a total freak out about, let me guess, something happened with your friends and they were not as committed to this insane parasocial relationship you have to Bon Iver. And so you freaked out and said, I'm not leaving the concert. You can go, and you can go to Arby's by yourself. Well, let's see if I'm right. Amanda had her first baby a year and a half ago, and this was going to be the first time she was away from her baby. She stayed at my house the night before the concert and did not seem to be coping well with being away from her child. Lots of tears. Stayed on FaceTime with baby for hours, etc. Eventually, we convinced her to get some sleep. We asked if she wanted to go home the next day, and she said no. The concert rolls around, and Amanda was having what I can only describe as a panic attack from the time we got to the stadium onwards. She didn't have a reliable signal to talk with her husband about the baby, and I think the crowds and heat were a lot. Jill, who was okay missing the show, basically stayed in the bathroom with Amanda the whole time, trying to calm her down. My husband and I stayed in our seats except for the 2 times I went to go and check on them. Amanda decided, well, so you guys are holding up an entire bathroom for the entire show? Get out of the fucking bathroom! Bathrooms are for peeing and shitting. My husband and I stayed in our seats except for 2 times I went to go check on. And also, what are you doing to all the people who have to use the bathroom at the show? Worst case scenario, there's only like 2 stalls and you're in one of the stalls the entire time crying. Or you're in the common area of the bathroom and every poor fuck who has to walk in there and go piss has to now deal with the fact that this person is having a total breakdown. Go behind a tree. Anywhere else. I guess Amanda is upset that we stayed at the concert and it got back to our mutual mom friends. They are all being critical of me. I feel I might be the asshole because I told them that Amanda shouldn't have put us in that situation if she knew she wasn't going to be able to handle it. Well, I think if she knew that she was going to have a panic attack, then obviously she wouldn't have wanted to have one. You know, maybe she said, I know for a fact that I'm going to have a debilitating panic attack tomorrow. But I'm fine with that. I'm going to do it anyway. Do you think that's what happened? Do you think that's what could happen? And my life doesn't revolve around everyone's kids, right? Your life only revolves around your fantasies of... I am wondering if I'm the asshole for both staying at the concert and for my response. No, you're not, first of all. ETA. Why do people keep saying ETA? I don't think that means what people think it means. Just a few clarifications based on our initial comments. We weren't really considering it a special anniversary thing anymore after our friends asked to join, but that was totally fine. However, we obviously still really wanted to be there. We did drive everyone but Amanda, and Jill were able to call an Uber to leave. And yes, Jill is awesome for sure. Jill is being taken advantage of, and I sure hope that Jill realizes that she's better than this She's better than you people. Jesus. And there's more. Great. Plot twist, the place with my BL booked didn't have enough beds or... Oh, that was the other one. All right, well, I guess that's it. Okay, well, that was really stupid, and that's why you really shouldn't go to concerts if you're 30. Am I the asshole for throwing my sister in the pool, but not letting her BF throw me in the pool? So I am 27 and my sister F19 are all at a barbecue at our parents' house with just family and close family friends. We are getting out of the pool and she is mostly dried off when she says she is starving and about to destroy some barbecue. We have an inside joke that even though she is pretty skinny, my mom is super stressed about her gaining weight because her dad is overweight. So I make fun of mom sometimes when my sister brings up food, which is really just an attempt to shame her into non-body shaming my sister. So in this case, I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you clear that with mom first? To which she says, shut the fuck up, F slur. For context, I'm gay and she is an ally. And that is a really common joke between us. Nothing seriously offensive. Man, that's really funny. That is funny stuff. I bet the centuries of gay people are looking down from their noose hanging from a tree and are so proud that they live in a world now where you can be called a slur, ironically. It did, however, merit being thrown in the pool. This is the problem with people who are rich enough to have a pool. They're all stupid. So right as she is getting all the way dry and about to go change clothes, I bet you would have loved to watch that, huh? I throw her back in the pool. These and countless other shenanigans are typical in our relationship. If either of us were actually pissing the other off, we would tell them and they would apologize. So my sister is dating this guy, M22. She has known him for a month, but for the sake of fun, let's say she's known him for 6 months. I'm just curious if the timing of their relationship is relevant to people. What are you talking about? He is a Marine and the toxically possessive and overly protective kind. The kind that would have to be talked down from beating a man to death for catcalling her on the street. Which, like, fuck you if you catcall women. But I think being violently aggressive / protective like that is such a red flag. Here's your cookie. This is the first Here's Your Cookie award winner for this video. I throw her in and he reacts super poorly. He immediately stands up and mean mugs me. All right, I'm not reading this anymore. Goodbye. Am I the asshole for kicking out my mom's friends over a cat? My mom asked me to host her friends for about 2 weeks since I have a pretty big house where everyone could fit comfortably. Congratulations. I agreed. Plus, I already knew these people. I have a beloved cat, Shine, who is strictly an indoor cat. When the guests arrived, I explicitly told everyone about this so that no one would dare to let her out and ensured that everyone would be keeping the doors closed. I was even a bit tense because of their glances and ambiguous responses, but hoped everything would be fine. Everything was great for the first 4 days. We were getting along well, and they were even playing with the cat. The next day, I left to get my nails done. When I came back and walked into the house, I saw the balcony door wide open. I immediately searched the whole house, but Shine was nowhere to be found. I went into complete hysterics. I quickly ran to my mom's friends and demanded, "Where is the cat? How long ago did you open the balcony?" I told them that everyone needed to pack up and go look for her right now. The search lasted until the evening. Thank God the neighbors found Shine in a nearby basement. She was terrified, but the main thing was that she was alive. After I picked Shine up, I took her straight to the vet to get her checked out. Once we were done, I went back and told my mom's friends to pack their things and get the hell out. They said they were very sorry, claiming they just wanted her to get some fresh air and they didn't mean any harm. I said I didn't want to hear it, and they called me a monster. This story didn't happen, or this story definitely did not happen this way. So, I don't know what the truth is here, but let's just assume that maybe, yes, this is factually what happened. I have a feeling that they were actually trying to do you a favor, because it seems like you have severe mental health attachment issues to this cat. You sit alone in your empty, giant house, apparently, and you spiral out of control all day long further into the depths of insanity. So I think that they were trying to have an intervention for you and snap you back to reality. Hey, a black Phoebe! Oh! Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's sister to help instead of criticizing me? I, 22F, have been with my boyfriend, 26M, for just over 3 years. He has an older sister, 31F, with 2 kids. We've always been civil, but we've never been close. She's one of those people who likes to make little comments at other people's expense, and then says everyone is too sensitive if they don't laugh. I'm sensing maybe that there might be some resentment here that is being harbored. Just a little bit, maybe. Most of the family ignores it because that's just how she is, and I usually do too, because I don't think every comment is worth arguing over. Well, here's your cookie. Here's your award for being the most reasonable person on planet Earth. Here's your award for being the only reasonable person on planet Earth. Thank you so much for existing and making sure that these other dumb fucks who you're forced to be surrounded by are put in their place by a person who actually knows how things work. Good job! Last weekend, my boyfriend's parents hosted a barbecue. Why is it always a fucking barbecue? Because his grandparents were visiting. They were around 20 people there between family and close friends. His mom had been cooking all day, so I helped carry food out, clear plates, and refill drinks whenever she asked. Oh, you're so great. While we were bringing dessert outside, she thanked me for always helping without being asked. I told her it really wasn't a big deal. Of course you did, because you're very modest. That's why you had to discuss for an entire paragraph what a great person you are, so just to make sure that we all know. As soon as we got back outside, my boyfriend's sister laughed and said, "Someone's really trying to earn those daughter-in-law points." I smiled because I thought she was joking. But then she added, "You know you don't have to audition anymore, right?" Finally, somebody's telling you fucking to your face that you're a poser. I just ignored it because I didn't want to make things awkward. About half an hour later, my boyfriend's mom asked if anyone wanted to refill more lemonade. Since she was already getting up for another drink, I offered to refill a few glasses while she was in the kitchen. As I picked up the pitcher, his sister laughed again and said, "See, she's campaigning." You are. That was the point where I finally asked what her problem was. She shrugged and said she was just calling it how she sees it. Without really thinking, I replied, "If helping clean up after dinner is campaigning, maybe you should run for office once in a while." Wow, that is really articulate. Are you sure that you said that and you didn't just think about it in the shower for the last 3 days? The table went completely quiet. I'm sure they did. She immediately asked if I was calling her a bad daughter. I told her no. I was saying it was strange she kept criticizing me for helping when she hadn't helped with anything all afternoon. She grabbed her husband and kids and left. She left. Since then, she's been telling people I embarrassed her over a harmless joke. My boyfriend agrees she started it. He's just trying to placate you so that you'll shut up. But thinks I should have ignored her because everyone already knows what she's like, and now every family gathering is going to be awkward. His mom called me the next day and told me not to apologize because she's been putting up with comments like that for years, and someone was eventually going to snap. You know, you really should fear the good person who's been pushed too far. His mom called me the next day and said, oh, I already read that. His dad thinks his daughter was wrong, but also thinks I should apologize for embarrassing her in front of everyone instead of pulling her aside. I don't think what I said was that bad, but I also know I could have just let it go like I usually do. Do you really, I just am honestly curious. If there is even 1% of you that is entertaining the idea that you might be wrong, is there a fraction of your brain that is even entertaining the idea that maybe you're wrong? At all. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my son's ex that her not having a family is not my issue? So this is actually the first one of all these that is everyone sucks. That's a third option. So you can either vote the yes, the asshole, no, not the asshole, or everybody's the asshole in this situation. So this is one where supposedly everybody's wrong. Personally, I think that everybody has been wrong in all of these stories, but that's neither here nor there. My son was married for about 8 years and they recently got divorced. This is about his ex that I will call Sam. Sam didn't have a good childhood. She was bounced a lot as a kid. I really had to be very careful when I read that. She was kind person and she integrated into the family quite well. I took a parent role overall with her. They also got divorced because they couldn't have kids. It put a huge strain on their relationship. It was a sad mess with 2 miscarriages. Overall, the marriage broke. My son is dating someone new now, and I don't know if she is dating anyone. Ever since the divorce, I have stepped back from having a relationship with her, so no invited to family events anymore, and I didn't really message her at all. For example, my daughter just had her graduation party, and she wasn't invited. I got a call from Sam, and she asked if she did something wrong because we don't invite her to places anymore. I told her she's divorced from my son, and I don't hang out with my kids' exes. That is inappropriate. She told me he didn't have to know. My sons would not be happy to find out I hanged out with her behind his back. I told her she isn't family anymore. They divorced, and I won't be hanging out with her. We got into an argument about me abandoning her and that she has no other family. I told her that is not my issue and reiterated when you divorce someone, you don't hang out with the ex's family. She called me a cunt, and I am wondering if I was a dick. No, you were a cunt. Did you not just hear what she said? My family thinks it's really odd for her to try to hang out with me in the first place. Edit! The reason I know my son wouldn't want me to be in contact with her is because the divorce was messy, and at the end of the day, they were both very unpleasant to each other. Also, she's the one that filed for divorce, not my son. I don't know why everyone assumed that he did it. It was a bad day. He came home, got divorce papers, and then she kicked him out of the house. No comment. This is what happens when you're fucking raised in a trailer park. Am I the asshole for telling my brother it's not my fault if he feels guilty based on my parenting decisions? Another one where already in the title you can tell that not even 1% of them thinks maybe they could be an asshole. But let's see what validation they need today. My husband, 32M, and I, 32F, problematic age gap. There's not enough of one. Ha, very funny, Dan. And I have 4 children. 7M, 3, 5. Oh, shit. These fucking numbers. It sounds like they're counting down a nuke. 7M, 5F, 3M, and 1F. Feels like I'm doing inventory at the warehouse. What? I grew up with weight issues. There is genetic factors on my side of the family that cause weight issues, but also autism runs on my side of the family. I don't like the sound of this at all. So my autism did not help the genetic weight issues because I would only want to eat ultra-processed foods. As I got older, I always told myself I would never let my kids go through what I went through. All right, I have to skip this one. Great. Am I the asshole for refusing to let people park on my yard? And the community voted this person not the asshole. Neighbor runs a weekly yoga class out of her home. We are generally amicable and had a polite conversation about this prior. This has been an ongoing issue with her clients parking their vehicles on the street. The road is wide enough and the neighborhood is quiet. There is no need for them to pull onto the lawn at all. My yard came with an irrigation system, and it's expensive and time-consuming to repair. I acknowledge that sprinkler systems fail anyways. I've sheared enough heads off the mower to know that, so I can't say for certain that it's her customers causing the damage, but to please police it better and respect my boundaries. No, you know what's causing the damage is that you're trying to have this irrigated yard that is non-native to your ecosystem. That's what's causing the damage, the fact that you're not supposed to be growing any of this fucking shit where you live. Yet you insist that you need to be able to grow Bermuda grass. You insist you need to be able to grow your tall fescue. That's what's causing the problem. They're doing you a favor by running it over. You're an ecological terrorist. Today when I came home, all I wanted was some peace after an absolutely soul-crushing work week. And to my dismay, there are 2 vehicles parked almost entirely up on my front lawn. This time I was a bit more assertive and left written notes. Yeah, that's real assertive. Congratulations. I made it clear they were not welcome to park on my property, but the pavement was fine. I did turn on the irrigation for that zone until they left. Why are you irrigating your yard? One lady came to my door and at least apologized, and we had a reasonable and brief conversation. The 100K Mercedes did not, and proceeded to drive another 30 feet across my lawn when she left. Every other individual in this scenario is a retired boomer, whereas I am a millennial trying to raise a family. Well, congratulations, because so far in this story, you have essentially become a boomer. So your millennial distinction that you have held on to your entire life really means nothing now, because now you have a lawn that you're very upset about anybody even trampling over. Take a look in the mirror. You're not so different from the boomies as you think you are. Am I the only one that finds this behavior extremely entitled and disrespectful? I feel bad about the sprinklers. It was quite a passive-aggressive move, but I wanted to make a point and thought bringing some sensory stimulation to the moment might help the message be received. Editing to clarify. I mentioned the generational divide primarily because I would expect that a couple of empty nester, semi-retired, fairly well-off neighbors might be a bit more understanding of the situation. That maybe they're much younger, much less wealthy, extremely hard-working neighbors. Well, it doesn't sound like you're that poor. You have an irrigation system in your lawn. Again, take a look in the mirror. You are clinging to this perceived difference that you are a hard-working class person and that these horrible neighbors with their really expensive cars are ruining your perfect lawn that apparently is very expensive to maintain, which you have said yourself. If you're so strapped for cash, if you're such a hero of the working class, why don't you fucking plant some native plants that you do not have to maintain at all? Then you don't have to spend any money doing it. The Mother Nature does it for you. But I don't want to do that. I should be able to do whatever I want with my lawn. Sounds pretty entitled, doesn't it? Fucker! Extremely hardworking neighbors raising a young kid in 2026 have enough challenges on their plate. Oh, you're so pressed. Oh my God. Oh my God. But that requires empathy. Doesn't seem like you're empathizing with them very much, does it? You're expecting them to empathize with you. Why don't you empathize with them? Instead, you have vilified them instantly in your head according to these preconceived stereotypes. Have you made any attempt to empathize with them at all in this story? At all? Take a look in the mirror, because that's you. You're all the same. And you deserve each other. Am I the asshole for getting kicked out of a party for not being able to take a joke? This is one that has this quotation marks in the title. Starts off lowercase. So we're at this party. My friend's BF starts going on about how his ex was psycho and typical crazy chick behavior. I go, all right, I'm skipping this. Am I the asshole for telling my in-laws the truth after my brother-in-law blamed my husband? Am I the asshole for telling my in-laws the truth after my brother-in-law blamed my husband? You already said that in the title. You don't need to say it again. This happened about 5 years ago, but it's been something I've always wondered about. This happened 5 years ago? Why are you posting about it on Reddit 5 years later? You have issues. This happened about I read that already. My brother-in-law, my husband's sister's husband, yes, thank you, we got it, came to stay with us for a few days. He's always been pretty reserved and, if I'm honest, not the most truthful person. One night, he and my husband had been drinking while I was in another part of the apartment. At some point, my brother-in-law admitted he'd been in love with my husband for years. He also confessed that whenever his wife traveled for work, he'd cheat on her with other men. The next morning, he packed his bags, left without saying goodbye, and didn't say another word about what had happened. We assumed he'd regretted what he told my husband. A couple of days later, we found out he'd told the family he'd left because he'd had a huge argument with my husband. Everyone immediately believed him, and my husband ended up looking like the bad guy. Well, maybe you and your husband should start thinking a little bit more about why the entire family was immediately so quick to vilify your husband. Sounds like he's probably an asshole. Sounds like he probably has some history. Because it sure sounds to me like everybody in the family was like, well, of course he was an asshole because he's an asshole. I believe you 100%. I wasn't okay with that. So I told the family what had actually happened. I wasn't just relying on our word either. I had text messages from my brother-in-law that backed up what we'd said, but no one wanted to see them. Instead, I got accused of trying to stir up drama, making everything up, and trying to destroy his marriage. My husband still got blamed even though there was evidence that his story didn't add up. The fallout has affected our relationship with that side of the family ever since because they still believe my brother-in-law's version of events. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just kept my mouth shut and let everyone believe my husband was at fault instead of trying to defend him. No, you don't. No, you don't. You never think that. You never have once thought that. Let's be fucking real, please. You have never once thought that. Here's some edits. Edit! A lot of people have asked whether my husband wanted me to be involved. He did. My brother-in-law made the confession at around 9 p.m. And within about 30 minutes, my husband came and told me everything. I stayed out of it while they continued talking. Why do you 5 years later remember the time that he made this confession? Because I thought that was the right thing to do. When my husband finally came to bed around 3 or 4 a.m., we spent about an hour talking through what had happened and what we thought the right thing to do was. We agreed that my brother-in-law should tell his wife himself. If he didn't, then we would tell her together. Why don't you fucking stay out of it? I wasn't taking over the situation or acting behind my husband's back. We made that decision together. When we woke up the next morning, my brother-in-law had already left. He sent us several text messages begging us not to say anything until he'd spoken to his wife. So we respected that and stayed quiet. It wasn't until a day or two later, when my mother-in-law called us accusing us of trying to destroy their marriage, that we realized my brother-in-law had already told the family, I'm going to lay there and destroy this. Is so fucking stupid. These people are so insufferably annoying. And it's just unbelievable. I can't take this anymore. I cannot take this anymore.